Recap of the weekend, yes, did come away with 2 wins. From a volleyball standpoint, statistically, it was definitely one of our better weekends. We have been up and down a little bit this year, but I mean, both days we put back-to-back days together. I remember talking with the team and then Matt, our first set of day 2, our side out percentage was 100%. You literally can't get better than that. So that was cool to see us start a match that way. But I'm really proud of the girls for how we finished at home. We talked coming away with 10 wins at home was huge for us, doing it for Kaylin her senior weekend and just ending on a high in front of our fans. Now we move forward to Georgia Southern this weekend. It's going to be a tough 2 matches. They're really talented. So I think for us at this point, we know that we're not going to postseason. So it's more of a pride thing and knowing that we want to win together as a team, the team that we still have this year, and finish on a high.
Were you living and dying online Friday night and Saturday?
I was locked into both matches at my house with one of my assistants, and I was pretty unwell. My hands, feet were sweating, and it's tough because, we are very talented, and we've done a lot of great things this season. But leaving it in the hands of somebody else to determine our fate is never fun. I don't like being in that position, but, myself and staff, we've continued to remind each other and the team, there were a lot of great things that came from this season. We should be proud of the things that we accomplished because we did bring in 11 new players. A lot of them are very young. And so, we have a lot to look forward to and build off of what we accomplished this season. And so trying to just keep that in the forefront right now.
Talking to your fellow coaches in the league, does anybody like this last week being the way it is?
I think there's a few things that, we've talked about as coaches. It was one thing to start off with the same opponent back-to-back weekends for a few reasons, but the more competitive this conference gets, the tougher that becomes. I mean, there was a lot of weekends that the majority went splits. And so that's tough to do. When you are really competitive in the conference, it's easier to just play the one and then come up with a new game plan a few weeks down the road. And then this weekend, for me personally, it is tough. I don't like playing matches that don't matter for anything. I think I don't know. You're just spending money to spend it at that point. And so I would like to see a different layout in terms of how we move forward with the conference. I know talking with some other coaches, they have felt the same way. It's, whether it's we're playing more on the other side, because right now we only have 2 crossovers and, playing more opponents to where it does account for something and it does matter for seeding in the tournament. So we'll see what happens. We've been on this schedule for 2 years, which after the 2 years we change anyways. But with La Tech coming in and Texas State leaving, we have to, rearrange and do all that anyways. So we'll see what we come up with as a group and see if it does change.
How's the team approaching this week, knowing that the postseason's out of the picture?
Yeah, so we talked about it this morning. Obviously no one's happy about it, but, asking each of them where their heads are right now, they all still, want to go compete with this team and go out on a high and have fun doing it. And a couple of them said they want to build into next year, which I think is huge. I think that's mature of them to start saying now because, that's where we are we only lose 1 right now. And so, we do want to bring in a few more players, but I'm ready for spring. I'm ready to get in the gym. I'm ready to train, develop, and do all of that to where we are competing and going and competing for a conference championship next year. Because I do think it's possible with the group that we have.
What was you were able to get both your matches in before Troy and really enjoy Kaylin's final go around at home? Kind of what was that like? What was the team's kind of energy like around her and being able to celebrate her one final time at EK?
Yeah, it was great. It's always emotional. I think it hits different too when you have someone that has impacted the program like she has. And so it was emotional, but I think they did a really good job of not getting too emotional and still competing and fighting for her. So we did our little celebration before the match on Friday, and then I was proud of them with how they came out, because you never know with emotions being in the way, but I think they were able to compartmentalize some things and just go compete for her. So it was a fun weekend getting to celebrate her.
How much are you looking at this upcoming weekend as sort of maybe a peek forward into next season, kind of what you talked about?
Yeah, for me, it's going to say a lot. It's going to speak volumes as to what we're really made of. You know, for me, it is about pride. It is about building off of what we have. And so I don't want players that are going to go out and fold because they don't matter. I told the team this weekend or this morning in practice, we are going to do the same approach that we would as a staff. We're going to come in. We are going to plan practices the same. We are going to do our scout and our game planning the same. And so we expect the same from them, because I would rather go out 16-10 than whatever it would be, 12-12. Is that 14-12? So I would rather much go out on a high. So for us as a staff, I think it's important to see those that are returning, how they do come out and handle this weekend and compete with it.